This is Dario Betti again. Nice to meet you for a third time in a very busy day. But if some of you would be lucky enough to enjoy the first thing in the morning and having this meeting, some of you, like me, would probably be at the end of a big of a day. But whatever time it is, welcome to this event. As the CEO of MEF, I wanted to say two things. The first one is thank you for the amount of people that have joined us today, and I'm very, very happy. And the second one, I wanted also to, well, congratulate everybody that has started being so much interactive. And by the way, this is going to be a very interactive session as well. So first of all, I should tell you that if you are watching us on the web umbrella, as we like to say, there is a link that Lauren has recently sent. Join us there if you want to see us in Zoom and eventually participate, be seen as well in some of our discussions. But first, before I take it any further in my discussions about today's and how many of you have been today, I'm very happy to say that the last of the discussions for today, it's a document that has been organized and prepared by some of our members about Open RCS. It's a memorandum of understanding for interconnections and openness in the industry. So how did that started? How did that came to be? Well, we have two illustrious speakers to help us with that. It's Eddie Curtis, the Vice President of Strategy and Accounts at Liveperson, and Brien Jones-Lantzy, the Head of Telecommunication and Partnership for North America at Infobip. You would know both of them, I'm sure, very well, especially if you've been at some of our MEF meetings. It all started, just like a story, some time ago in January when Eddie and Brien stood up in a very busy GSMA Leadership Forum, Labs Forum, and with some of the ideas of how to improve RCS even further. And here we got them now. One of those original ideas was better interconnections and, you know, optimizing some of the things that we've seen in RCS. I'll give them the floor shortly, so they're waiting. But I just wanted to break the news, which if you've been a MEF, you probably know that has been a discussion for a while, that these memorandum of understanding that Eddie and Brien and other people in the meetings supported at the time has now got first example, the physical 2 pages in paper. If you wanted to print it out, it's available for you. You'll see a link in there in front of you. And some people have already started to join in and saying good things about it. But I'll stop here, and I would like to introduce Eddie and Brien. Eddie, Brien, please unmute yourself and show yourself. Well, first of all, I'd like to say congratulations. It takes a while to optimize, to find the right words, and to bring a bit of momentum to such a thing. So well done to both of you. Now, can you tell me a bit more about what are we opening here? What's these MOU?
Eddie, do you want to start? And I'll back
I
you up.
will. Yeah, sure. That'll be great. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining today's session. I know it's been a very, very crazy day for you all. It's not like we're all in person and we can shake hands and be together, but you know, I guess this is the next best thing. So back at like Dario said, back in January during the leadership committee meeting, things needed to take place. We were seeing issues within the RCS space that needed to be addressed. So Brien and I, during one of the sessions, came up with this idea of generating a level of understanding within the industry. How are we going to level the playing field? How are we going to, you know, put some guardrails up to say, hey guys, the only way RCS is going to be successful is if it's open, if it's if it allows unique little companies to participate, consumers are being able to enjoy, the whole aspects of RCS, being able to, regardless of device that they're utilizing, that they're going to get the same experiences that they're getting with their current device as they move between devices, right? So how do we open up the platforms for some unique development around conversational AI and conversational services, payments, etc.? And how do we make sure we're maintaining the best practices, so not a single individual company or a handful of companies end up controlling something that should be open, that we look back at what took place during the latter years of SMS, before it, while it was open, it hockey sticked, etc. And now we're starting to see behaviors having to be guarded into a more stringent way, but which detriments to the system, detriments to the operators. So and to the players in the field. So let's have a level playing field. Let everybody experience the richness of RCS, and and bringing new services at the benefit of the carriers and at the benefit of the subscribers.
Eddie, that's exactly correct. And if I could add a little color to that, during the meeting, it became apparent to Eddie and I that the pains of our forefathers with SMS and MMS was something that we did not want to repeat again with this new technology of RCS. So as a collective group, we decided that we needed to create an MOU, or the Memorandum of Understanding, which would specifically outline what would be some of the best practices of RCS, which would allow for the greatest amount of interoperability, which did not exist during SMS and MMS rollout, and also would allow for a greater collaboration between the carriers, the providers, the messaging providers, and the brands themselves. We want to make sure that this is a cohesive group that can work together as we are rolling this technology out. Only through having those three pillars, the carriers, the brands, and the messaging platforms, only by having those three work together are we going to assure that this is a successful rollout in the marketplace. To that effect, Eddie and I, working together with several other members, created this MOU. And this MOU specifically has a component on it which is critical to everyone listening and everyone that's going to be part of RCS. It is a signature line. And the signature line simply states that, yes, we as a company recognize this MOU as a guiding principle for us and for our company as we roll out RCS. And what does that mean? Exactly what Eddie had mentioned. It means that the very, very small messaging platforms, as well as the incredibly large telecommunication operators, are going to work together to make sure that we assure the success of this as a technology, so that the subscriber ultimately can be the winner in this scenario. With that, we've created this as a actual working document, not a working document, but a completed document. Dario has a link at the bottom of this for the MOU. If you have desire to have your company be part of this organizational group, which is going to be signing it, please reach out to Dario, the MEF group, and we would love to have your signature on it. Eddie, maybe you can address some of the companies that have given us direct, here we go, some initial signatories as well as supporters. So as you can see, Eddie, why don't you go ahead and you can talk to some of these signatories and the supporters.
So it's Dario, would you like to say something?
Nope.
Oh, okay. So we're very excited about this. So more and more companies are signing up and looking to be signatories on this document. We have carriers from all over the world. When this was finally approved for release, a number of large operator alliance groups, a number of very large operators, including participants from conversational companies to aggregators, but more importantly to operators. Operators are looking at this and saying, wow, you guys, this is good. This is something we need. This is something that we can get behind and support, because it needs to be open. We have the OTTs on one side, we have, individual aggregators, and the carriers are looking at this going, finally, someone has put on paper what we have been hoping for. So in the next few weeks, in the next few months, this list of the initial signatories is going to grow substantially.
That's exactly right, Eddie. And it's really important for all companies, from the carriers to the aggregators to the messaging platforms and the brands themselves, to take a look at the tenet and the mantra of this organizational document. It's really so that we will work together as an organization to assure a smooth rollout of this technology, make sure that we don't repeat the foibles of our forefathers with SMS and MMS, and make sure that we give the consumers a strong, viable product set in the brand moving forward. So we're very excited to be part of this. We're excited to be working with the GSM Association as well as MEF in getting this document out there.
Exactly. And what's very, very important for the carriers and the operators that are on this call, this is about you. This is about how we're going to work together to better your offering, how we are going to bring new technologies and new services and new development and give your subscribers that you have worked so hard to acquire and support your networks that you have spent billions of dollars to build and billions of dollars to support, how this industry is not fighting against you, but this industry is working with you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Now, for those of you that are on this webinar, as you can see on the bottom, there's opportunities for you to drop in chats or comments or things of that nature. I know that Dario is going to be moderating those for us. Eddie and I might be able to see some of those and might not be able to see some of those. Dario, are there any comments that are coming across that people have, or can you give some direction as to where someone would go to download this document and then submit their signatory for it?
Well, yes, as by magic, if you're watching Umbrella, you will see that there is a link to actually the self-regulation page of MEF. And within that, the next link will be sent very shortly. You will find that there is actually the link to download the PDF version of the document itself. If you were interested in, we will set up a Word document as well, so you can actually put your name and send us directly signed the document. It is available to everybody, and I think thanks for reminding GSMA has been involved from day one.
Yes, that's correct.
It's not an initiative which is open only to the MEF members. The opposite. You don't need to be members of any associations if you believe that this is an important thing. So yes.
And just to add a little bit to that, Dario, both Brien and I will always be available. If there are questions from your internal groups about this MOU that they need some additional information, besides Dario and the MEF and the GSMA, both Brien Jones-Lantzy and myself will always be available to answer any questions you may have.
Yeah, Eddie, that's exactly right. We really want the whole ecosystem to adopt this. So as everyone said, MEF, GSM Association, Mobile Marketing Association, CTIA, all of those organizations, the Etsy group, we really want to get everyone involved and excited about this overall. Dario, thank you so much for dropping the link in there. I think that there was maybe some questions that came about.
Well, there is one comment, and shortly, as you can see, if you would like to speak or to speak to the group, you can use the link to come here. It seems complicated, but it's very easy. Click on the link, and it will let you speak if you want. Meanwhile, Carlos, you are watching Umbrella. I believe you're not here, so I will read out what you wrote in the chat. Carlos Aragon. I think a brand in itself by now from Mavenir. So Carlos says, it is great to see this MOU come to fruition since our first meeting in New York this year. Eddie's spearheading it, and as the biggest advocate, Dario coordinating the rest of the team have done an amazing job here. So Brien and Eddie, congratulations already comes to you from Carlos, and thanks Carlos. And Carlos, if you would like to say anything, do join us here and raise your hands. Anybody else which is on
there's a question. What is the difference between the MEF, MOU, and the GSMA document, PRD, RCS ecosystem principles, and MOU for P2P interconnection? Sorry, I don't want to change your word. The difference is those are around some specific use cases. What this is a broader MOU. This is everything from out of the box experience to opening up developer services, APIs to allow unique use cases to be built and tested within the market. This is this is more around the entire ecosystem, not a specific one individual thing. Yes, there's interconnect in there. Yes, there's how we're going to work together around brand, around chatbot validity and brand verification, et cetera. But it's a more broader solution that's supposed to be more global and not around a specific use case such as P2P or interconnect, et cetera. And then
Eddie,
stuff.
Eddie, you bring up a good point. The reasoning for the MOU and the design therein was specifically so that we could get a multitude of different companies, the carriers, the aggregators, the messaging providers, so that we could get all of them to agree to the document itself. As the GSMA documents, those are very much more of a specific technical document and a principle set up around the infrastructure of the ecosystem itself. Our document is not set up and designed in that regard.
Exactly. That was a better way to put it. Yeah. There you go. Thanks, Brien.
No problem, Eddie.
Yeah, and if I can add to that, because I think Elena brings up a good questions of alignment. We believe we're pretty aligned with all of those. Just to mention the PRD, the WA09, which it's actually the wholesale agreement on how things are happening, described by the WAS, I believe, in GSMA. That's already included in the document itself. So it says, please follow that. So the MOU has got a reference to that. And I think the MOU interconnection, Elena, I think Elena really knows, well done from Elena. She's done a close evaluations from KVA, and that has been signed by the operators. As you said, this is also signed, interestingly, as a request, as a hoping for that by the rest of the industry as well. I think that's probably the only difference I can see. The MOU on P2P interconnection was signed by some operators, by many operators. And I think what the rest of the industry is just confirming and asking again that to renew the interest, right? And I think that's all. There is nothing new in those specific first two questions specifically.
And just to add one thing, and and I'm a huge proponent of this MOU. I believe in it. I wouldn't have been involved in it if I didn't believe in it. I'm going to make this as clear as possible. If we do not work together, and I'm talking about everybody from the brands, the operators, the service providers, the application providers, platform providers, if we all don't work together for a positive outcome, and we all, and we go down the path of this is mine and I got to protect it. If this is not an open solution, this will fail. The carriers will deal with the over-the-top guys, and all the hard work we have done over the last 3+ years since the rehash Jill's brilliant idea to bring RCS back is just, it would be just a waste of everybody's time.
Eddie brings up a very good point, and to to stay on the positive wave of enthusiasm that we have with this RCS solution, with the brands, with the carriers, and with the consumers themselves, we really felt that the MOU was one that would really highlight the productive way that we could all work together to make sure that this is happening.
Exactly.
We do know how things can work when we don't work together as an organizational groups, but when we do work together, we can really create a product solution and a technology for the consumers in the marketplace, which, you know, here to end has never really been rolled out. So we're very excited about this. We're really excited about having the MOU signed by everyone and really adopted by all organizations out there.
Yes, I agree. Another question we have, do you expect the OTTs offering RCS will support the MEF MOU? There should be no OTTs offering RCS. It is a carrier service, but we all know there is. I would hope so. I really, really would hope so. I really would hope that they would back that this is a carrier service, just like SMS, just like voice. This is the 5G standard for messaging. I would hope everybody would support this, because there's nothing.
That's ultimately our ultimate hope, is to have everyone support this, from the OTTs to the carriers to everyone. So thank you, Elaine, for that question.
And I think there are two more comments, and I'll keep on reading if you don't mind, but
Sure.
do let me know if anybody would like to speak with their own voice. The first one comes from Paul. Hi, Paul. Nice. Go to my comments this morning. It's up to us. That's what Paul says. So, and I say, good work, guys. So it's time for the industry to get it working properly and make it the great potential of RCS. So true. Tiago Martins said, Eddie, you're completely correct. We have to work together. So there it goes.
Yet again, another person saying Eddie's right.
Oh my God! Please, Eddie. Listen, the room is not big enough there, sir. The room is not big enough.
I think they're gonna charge us more.
Exactly.
If I had a nickel.
No. So David Schwinn, hello David. Hi Brien and Eddie. Do you think Google or Twilio will sign these? Similar to the question from Elena, but very specific.
Again, it's out there for them. I hope they do. They are big players in the space. I think it's imperative. I think it shows commitment that they want to see this succeed. Again, we you know, part of the MOU's breadth is it being open. One specific company can't control the entire space. It won't work. It just won't continue to evolve. You want it to evolve by being open. It will evolve. Great new companies will grow from this. Great new ideas will come out of it. Great new use cases, like I said, from conversational AI, such as Liveperson, to stuff that Infobip is doing, to stuff that small companies that we don't even know about yet that are trying to implement and roll out. And I hope that Google and Twilio and others out there see the benefits of having a true open ecosystem.
Well said, Eddie. Well said.
Thanks. I'll just say, by the way, we have Tara Flint saying good things about meth. So thank you, Tara. I like it a lot. Keep it coming. It's a bit like Eddie. So I'm happy to pay more for that.
There you go.
But I actually wanted to say, well, back to Paul Rupert's questions or comment before, is up to us. So that probably it's an invitation to go to Google, knock on their door, and to Twilio in that case, and say, dear guys, would you like to join? So well, probably we should do that as well. And,
and I believe those conversations have already taken place, but I also think, you know, the true 800-pound gorilla in this conversation, and like I like to always say, is the carrier, right? The carrier is truly it's their customers. It's like a television network. They created the TV show. everybody watches and everybody wants to advertise on that TV show. So I think it's very, very important. I think it's very important that, you know, we maintain that relationship with the carriers, and the carriers, by supporting this MOU, not force, not, I don't want to say or even use the word force, but it will show Twilio and others that, you know, that it's important to be part of this. We're part of this. We're protecting our customers. We're protecting our subscribers, our network, etc. We believe in this. We want you to believe in this, and we want our end consumers to, you know, reap the benefits of some great technology that you created, Google. The Pixel, the Android messaging, all that stuff that you have created should be available to the entire subscriber base, not just a portion of it.
Yep, exactly correct.
Well, I mean, I'll read another couple of questions, and if anybody on our Zoom line wants to speak, raise your hand. Now, Inderpar from Kirusa says, great initiatives from MEF, and kudos to Eddie and Brien. Thanks for all the help in these. Questions also follow up by Interpol. Do you see any resistance from carriers to support these?
Do we see any resistance from carriers? No, we wouldn't see any resistance from carriers. Carriers have felt the pain of the non-interoperable solution, which initially came out from when SMS and MMS was initially rolled out. And what that did is that forced third-party companies to create an intermediary solution between the carriers for SMS exchange. And that was a good solution, but all it did is it created a bottleneck for the carriers themselves, so they wouldn't have the capability to send as many SMS messages through per second. Now, as soon as the carriers recognized that their SMSCs could reach and speak to each other, and they wanted to create an interoperable solution, it was heaven on earth. So what we want to do is we want to assure that those carriers have the opportunity to sign this. And we feel that they really are. We know that the CCMI joint venture group here based in the United States is an organization that's looking forward to find what's the best way that they can roll out jointly together as an interoperable solution for RCS. We know that there are players in the marketplace such as Google who want to work with aggregators and messaging providers and brands so that they can bring this technology out into the marketplace. And we feel that the MOU document is really one which can bind us all together. It's one document which can simply state that we all believe that working together on this technology, on this rollout, on the infrastructure is going to make a better consumer experience. And we know that the carriers are a critical piece to this. Eddie?
And if I could add a little bit provide a little bit of history. The reason SMS and MMS was such a pain was because we had disparaging technologies, right? So we had CDMA, TDMA, and GSM. Today, in this day and age, we're predominantly all LTE. So there is no reason for in a carrier, right? They can do it direct connections. They could do it. There is no disparaging technology. But I will give a little brief history on MMS. When MMS launched, the phones required an update, and it was very, very painful for operators to launch an MMS service to existing devices that were already in their market. This is similar to what's going on now with RCS. So there is one vendor that makes a client. There's multiple client vendors. There's one vendor that has the Google has their Android messaging running on their Android devices, and some OEMs. You have other OEMs that have their own version. You have Samsung. There's different interpretations of the standards, which is causing either dual registration or single registration. I mean, there's a lot of challenges in this space. What this MOU is saying is, all right, we got it. There's challenges. Let's work together. Let's fix those challenges. Let's provide the first point, an out-of-the-box experience. That means if I have a Samsung device and all of a sudden a brand new beautiful Google Pixel comes out and it's better than, and I want to upgrade to that, I could take my SIM card out of my Samsung and stick it in my Android device, and everything just works. That is the basics. And if we can't get the basics done, we have a bigger problem. So we get the basics working, we get everything, you know, and that's what the whole point of the MOU is. Let's come and let's face these problems as an industry, as a group of shared mind to deliver a positive endpoint to everything.
I need to check the time because the half hour goes fast. But the good news is for everybody, and I hope that we can get some of our help to show you in Brella. So there in your chat, there is a link to join the full event, and to make sure that we can continue with discussions between us. And I will just do it by also reminding that Lisa from Interop and Andy Jones have both saying well done to the industry for doing this. Leon is asking if there is an MOU for SMS services. The answer is yes. Visit MEF. We have already a code of conduct there in case you want to know more about it. But I think we might have to close. I'll leave you. Oh, fantastic. I see that you have a link you can click on right now and make sure that you can join us on Zoom to talk to Eddie and to Brien if you have additional questions for them, or to speak up. And by the way, I should say once again, thanks to the additional signatories. There are 16 to start, so that's a very good number. If you would like to add your name, you know where to go. Well, Eddie and Brien first, and if not, come to us at MEF as well. Eddie, Brien, telegraphically, we have a few more seconds. What can you say?
Thank you so much.
Carlos raised his hand.
Oh, Carlos raised his hand. Carlos, they might kick us out, but we'll let you speak. Kim, please introduce Carlos so he can speak as well, please.
Might have lost him. I think we might have lost Carlos, but
no.
Oh, there he is.
No, I'm here. I don't know if you can see my video, but at least you can hear my audio. It's just that you guys summoned me in the middle of the presentation, so I just wanted to say hi. I know that we signed at the very last minute, so we're actually very excited that we made it through. And we just wanted to say that Mavener is really excited about this opportunity. You know our commitment to being open and pushing out.
We kicked him out.
We lost him. Thank you, Carlos.
There we go. Now I'm in full panelist.
There he is. There he is.
I just wanted to say how excited we are that we're part of this initiative and we could kind of get it signed and ratified at the last minute. But you know our commitment to an open RCS, and you know our motto is always to share the wealth of RCS with the carriers, the vendors, the brands, the advertisers, everybody. So we really believe. I think we're, together with John Duffy from IMI Mobile, we're one of the kind of key pushers of RCS out there in terms of marketing push. So we're fully onboarded and we're really happy for this opportunity. I'm already getting some questions from our team saying, where are the device vendors? Where is Samsung? Where is, Huawei? Where is Xiaomi? Where are all those people? So I guess we're going to be working over the coming months to get them on board too, right?
That is correct.
That is
correct. It's very important. It's very important to get the device manufacturers on board with this.
Yep, exactly.
And they'll get a lot of push from the carriers too, right? They're buying the phones.
And the consumers. They'll get a lot of push from the consumers as well. Yeah.
So let me say, I think we need to let the team go, but let me say goodbye to everybody which is on Brella. So bye-bye from us. But that means click on the link and stay and join us because we're going to have 5-10 more minutes to listen to everybody else here. So please, but thanks again if you were watching live in Brella in our main stage. And now we continue.